We've all heard it. We've all probably felt it in some way. The housing crisis is without a doubt one of the biggest challenges we're facing. And the solution we hear over and over again? Just build more. Simple. But what if that simple answer isn't the whole story? Let's get into it.
I mean, it's the question on pretty much everyone's mind, right? Whether you're renting, trying to buy, it just feels like prices only go in one direction, up. And the answer always given seems so straightforward.
The logic seems solid, it's basic supply and demand. If you build more houses, prices will come down for everybody. For years, this has been the rallying cry. But as it turns out, the reality on the ground is way, way more complicated.
That's right. Researchers started looking into cities that were actually doing it, building aggressively, and they found something that kind of turns that common wisdom on its head. The data shows this major contradiction in who really benefits when we just build, build, build. Think about some of these fast-growing places, like Phoenix. They were building more new housing than the average city, so you'd expect rents to cool off, maybe even drop a little. But instead, something really strange started to happen, especially when you break down who was paying what. Okay, just look at these numbers from Phoenix. In only 8 years, rents for the lowest income families went up by a staggering 27%. But during that exact same time, look at the other bar. Rent for high-income folks actually went down. So more building led to more financial pain for the poor and relief for the rich. How does that even happen? And here is the real kicker. This wasn't because there weren't enough new apartments to go around. Nope. In fact, more than 9% of all those brand new units in Phoenix were just sitting vacant. The new supply was there, but it clearly wasn't solving the problem for the people who needed help the most. And that points to this fundamental disconnect. And that disconnect really comes down to a massive mismatch. A mismatch between what we're building and what people actually need and can afford. See, it turns out that not all new housing is created equal. The type of home we're adding to the market matters a lot. This really lays out the core of the problem, doesn't it? On one hand, the market is cranking out tons of luxury studios and one-bedrooms, plus these huge homes for wealthy buyers. But on the other hand, what's desperately needed? Affordable homes for families, modest starter homes for people trying to buy for the first time. We're essentially building for the very top of the market while everyone else is left to figure it out. And let's zoom out for a second, because this is not just a Phoenix problem. Oh no. Across the entire country, nearly half of all renters are now what's called cost-burdened. That means they are spending over a third of their entire income just on rent. And a full quarter of them, they're severely burdened, spending more than half of what they make just to keep a roof over their heads. But here's where it gets really stark. This crisis hits the most vulnerable people the hardest. For families earning less than $30,000 a year, the situation is, well, it's dire. More than 80% of them, 8 out of 10, are cost-burdened. And that's not just a statistic, That's millions of families having to make impossible choices between paying rent and buying groceries or getting healthcare.
Now, if you bring this up, supporters of the build anything, anywhere approach have an answer. It's a popular economic theory called filtering. And it sounds really good on paper, but as we're seeing, it has some pretty serious limits out here in the real world.
So the idea behind filtering goes like this. You build a bunch of new luxury apartments. A wealthier person moves into one of those shiny new places, which frees up their old, slightly less fancy apartment. Then that unit becomes available for someone with a little less income, and so on, until affordability filters down the whole housing chain. So here's how it's supposed to work. Step 1, you build the luxury units. Step 2, wealthier people move on up. And then Step 3, the older homes they leave behind are supposed to filter down and become cheaper. It's this neat little domino effect, in theory. But there is a huge catch with that final step. And there it is. That's the problem. In today's expensive cities, the costs to just maintain a building, we're talking taxes, insurance, basic upkeep, they're so high that there's a floor to how low the rent can actually go. So an older apartment might get a little cheaper, sure, but it often never ever filters all the way down to a price that's truly affordable for a low-income family. The whole process just kind of stalls out before it reaches the people who need it the most. But wait, there's more. The problem is even bigger than just building the wrong things. There's another crisis happening right under our noses, one we don't talk about enough. We are actively losing the affordable housing that we already have. Exactly. It's like we're trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. While we focus all this energy on new construction, our existing stock of affordable housing is under incredible pressure, and it's disappearing right out from under us. And just get a load of this number. In 2023 alone, many of the groups that provide affordable housing saw their insurance costs jump by a minimum of 25%. Some even saw their costs double. And experts say this isn't just a temporary blip. These are deep structural problems. And that one change creates this devastating ripple effect. Landlords have to raise rents just to cover costs, which pushes people out, or they put off critical repairs, which makes homes unsafe. In the worst-case scenarios, entire buildings get shut down, or the nonprofits running them just go bankrupt. And all of that affordable housing is lost for good. Okay, so if just building more isn't the silver bullet, and we're losing the affordable housing we already have, what on earth is the path forward? Well, the research points to a much smarter, more focused approach. And this right here is the absolute key takeaway. Nobody is saying we should stop building. We absolutely have a housing shortage. The solution is to get strategic. It's about shifting our focus from just the quantity of homes to the quality and affordability of what we're building. So this all leads us to a clear three-part strategy. First, we have got to focus on building the right kind of homes. The starter homes, the family-sized apartments that people are actually looking for. Second, we have to use things like subsidies and public funding to make sure those homes are genuinely affordable for the lowest income families. And third, and this is so important, we absolutely must protect the affordable housing that already exists. So ultimately, this whole thing shifts the conversation. The real question isn't if we should build. Of course we should. The question is how we build. The goal can't just be more units on a spreadsheet. The goal has to be a future where everyone has a safe, stable, affordable place to call home. And getting there? Well, that's going to take a much smarter and frankly, more compassionate strategy. Thanks for tuning in.